episode 6, 7, 8, 9. Is there 10 episodes in this season?
There is.
Okay. So we're going to finish up season 5. Season 5. Okay, first off, how's everybody going? We had some technical difficulties. A little delay getting started, but we getting there. Okay. Episode 6, Unbound Unbent Unbroken. All Arya, like pretty much 90% of this episode. It just kept going back and forth from Arya to Tyrion, and then some other random shit sprinkling at the end. Literally. At the beginning of this, we've got Arya at the House of Black and White. She's getting to wash bodies, which is all great. She still wants to know where the fuck they're going to afterwards. This is the first time that Arya looks like mad older.
Yeah, her eyebrows and got thicker. Yeah, she just looked like a different person this season.
This is when the waif tells her, her little fake story about being from Westeros. And she's like, and she's sitting there looking at her like, oh, you finally shared with me. And she's like, is it a lie or is it the truth? She's like, what? What you thought we share? I thought we're finally good friends. Or Arya just wants friends at this point. Like, she just wants somebody to be, friends with. That's not on her list.
Yeah, she still doesn't understand why this girl does not like her.
So then we switch to Tyrion. So Jorah's got grayscale. And it's spreading. And this is when Tyrion breaks the news to Jorah that his dad is dead.
Right, it's so unfortunate how you hit him too. Just like, you gonna tell the whole story and he looking at you like, wait, what? My daddy what? Yeah, your daddy gone, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Now she's scrubbing floors. And
Should we keep calling him jocking? Because, when Arya pulled up, they said nobody there by the name of jocking.
Tyrion and Jorah have a conversation about Dany and why she should even be the ruler, or why she should sit at the Iron Throne. And Jorah's all, oh, well, it's her blood right. And he's like, well, why is it her blood right any more than anyone else's? Which is a very good question. Just because the Targaryens took over shit. Stuff about the Targaryens and about why. And they blaming it on like the inbreeding as to why he went crazy.
Oh, so it's kind of like he was Joffrey.
Yes.
If Joffrey would take control.
Yeah. So I made that parallel. I was like, oh, so like crazy.
I'm still thinking it's going to be something with Bran. Like, they were talking about how he was hearing voices saying to burn them all. I feel like it's going to be something like Bran trying to go back during that fight with the White Walkers. And he's going to be in the Mad King's ear. And that's going to be what caused him to go crazy.
Crazy that would be it. Bran, why the Mad King went mad. So Littlefinger sees the new Lancel. And he meets up with Cersei, who they had this little kind of exchange about the choice of partners. Because they were talking about Liza being crazy. And your choice of partners wasn't the best either. Making another hint that, he told her before, he kind of made it clear that she was
sleeping with Jaime.
Yeah, that wasn't no secret no more. Oh, this tells her that Stannis and Luce are about to fight, and that Sansa is up at Winterfell, about to marry Rand.
Hey, so hold on, I got a quick side note. Like, they kept referring to it, but like maybe I forgot, or maybe I don't remember that part. But why do I feel like it was a different ending for Robert? How did Cersei get Robert killed again?
She had Lancel. So when Robert went out on his war hunt, she had Lancel poison his wine. So
he got drunk and
he got stabbed. So he was like heavily intoxicated before.
Okay, all right. Because I was just like, I just wasn't putting that two and two together, like how she had him killed.
That's why that was all her fault. That's why that was her fault. As far as being in on Robert's murder, and I like how. And you'll see Littlefinger tried to play out innocent, like he didn't. How did Cersei not know that Littlefinger transported? Well, obviously she didn't know that he transported. You know that at Winterfell at this point until he.
Like how she connects those dots. Like you disappeared, she disappeared. You come back, you know where she is. Oh, yeah, you're right. Because he had those two beds on his boat.
He was actually gone before that too. Like he had dipped out. We get to see Marcella all grown up with her, boo, Trystane. Sad thing is, this is like only one of the very few genuinely true like little love situations where both people were like happy to be in it.
Mm-hmm. It was completely innocent.
Yeah, it was.
There was no weird incest.
No weird incest, no games. They were like just two kids in love.
And it's the only one? Well, I'm trying to think. You guys said that. I'm trying to think back. Like, what was another real love story?
There was no other. I mean, unless you talk about Kat and
Ned.
Ned, that's about it.
And she was mad at him for cheating, which we all know he didn't do. But
So yeah, only little love story. It wasn't just built on anything crazy. So Jamie's trying to get to Marcella before the Sand Snakes get to her because they're gonna kill her. Let's see. Lady Tyrell returns to get her grandson out of the pokey. He's being held by them crazy ass sparrows.
Yeah, sparrows.
Right before Sansa gets married, she has to deal with Miranda giving her a bath because she can't bathe her damn self. And this Miranda kind of talked about all the chicks before her that Ramsay I think she was really trying to find out whether or not Sansa really even cared about Ramsay or was really into this and trying to keep her oh, don't get too comfortable type situation. And that's when Sansa calls her out. It's yeah, but how long have you loved him? Because clearly you're in love with him.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's Sansa did not care. Miranda was trying to make her jealous over a situation that Sansa was just okay, all right, thanks. I appreciate it.
No, I don't really want to be here no fucking way, but I got to. I think if Sansa had have asserted herself a little bit more with Ramsay, I think this situation could have went a little bit different.
And she could have really played her hand. And the fact that he couldn't just kill her. No. She was where the actual power was at. Yeah, and I think maybe if she had stepped up with a bigger voice and kind of come into that bitch yeah, we're going to run the North. If she had just kind of asserted herself a little bit more, I think Ramsay, she could have had that, how, Joffrey and Marjorie were. Had she just asserted herself a little bit more, she probably could have done a little bit better with Ramsay. She probably could have, it could have been a little different. I think he wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have fucking straight up abused her after they got married. Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. I see. Where he could have probably had a little bit more respect because obviously the reason why he likes crazy ass Miranda is because she's crazy. So had Sansa maybe stepped up a little bit, you should have played a little bit more crazy. Yeah, she'd have been okay. So they get married in the Godswood. These night wedding things are kind of cute, and I like them. I'm digging the night weddings on the show. She did not want to touch Theon at all, and once she started really realizing the kind of person Ramsay was, which was kind of clear when they had dinner, and the fact that, he's showing his crazy, so she should have done something. Episode 7, The Gift. Jon and Tormund go beyond the wall. They're making their way to Hardhome. Sam gives Jon a bunch of dragon glass, take this with you. It didn't appear to me there was that much. There was a bag of dragon glass, but there's to be a lot of people at Hardhome, at least one at a time. Yeah, was he just going to throw it? That was his little ammo sack?
Hey. Now we're going to skip 2 other things in the other episode.
What else in that episode?
Marjorie in jail. Loras in jail.
No, wait. Marjorie didn't get locked up yet.
Yeah.
Loras has been in jail.
Took them both into custody because they brought in, what's that dude named? Oliver, and he snitched on both of their ass. And they took them both into custody.
I do have that in my Lady Tyrell notes and did totally skip over that last half of that whole paragraph I wrote. You're right.
That's what I'm about to be. I'm about to be here for the skips. You're over here skipping.
I honestly, watching this episode, let's just fucking call it what it is. This episode, and I feel the next episode, The Gift, was just bullshit leading up to Hardhome.
Yeah, but this is still stuff that we kind of got to touch on because it leads into, the High Sparrow and the Sept, Walk of Atonement, and all of that stuff.
You're right. Okay, so.
You know what I'm saying? That, and then the Sand Snakes tried to go murk Marcella. It was about to go revenge by Pops.
You're right. We did skip over that last part of that too. I did have that at the end of that note. Those notes.
But you were just trying to get to Hardhome. That's what you did.
Yeah. Episode 6 was just I felt like watching it because I had to watch it. You're right. Okay, so recapping episode. We just recap episode 6 real quick. Lady Tyrell shows up. They had this fake ass Inquisition. That whole thing is a fucking farce.
Right, hold on. As much as you love Lady O, she was in rare form in this episode. She came for Cersei bitch, I know you've been doing this for my son and my grandson and my granddaughter. I'm coming for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming for all that.
Yes.
She's talking about these veiled threats. She was like, ain't no veil. What you mean? I'm coming at your neck.
Very true. She was very forward with that because she knew there was she knew it was all bullshit. She knew what Cersei's doing and why Cersei was doing it. So she did call her on it. straight up. And they brought in Oliver, who,
Snitching.
yeah, him and Shay, hordes of a feather flock together.
Right, I didn't even think about that. She coming up soon too. Her bitch ass.
He snitches, and then they snatch up Marjorie, who gets locked up. Poor Tommy. Poor motherfucking Tommy.
You do honestly feel bad for him during these episodes because it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying his best, and all these people are just yelling at him.
Right, because wasn't he? What was he at that point? Like 13?
He's like 10.
What?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Tommy was like 10 or 11 years old. He was young. He was mad young. So Tommy, poor baby, is now watching his first love, his first girlfriend, and his wife get carted off, and ain't shit he can do about it. And
They won't even let this boy go see her.
Yeah, no. All right, episode 7, The Gift. John and Tormund get ready to go behind the wall, and what's his face? Alistair Thorne tells John he's an idiot, and that you're spitting on everybody who's died, fighting White Walkers, and he's just like, well, you know what? Let's just let it go already. Like, God, we got bigger fish to fry. And they don't even realize how big a fish to fry at this point, but they got bigger fish to fry. So, Maester Aemon, we learned this, well, we've already known he was, a Targaryen, but he's Aegar Targaryen's older brother. And they've mentioned his age before, him being like 104 years old, but I never really thought about that. That motherfucker was 144 years old. 104 years old. That was John's great uncle. Aegon.
Damn.
Or Maester Aemon was his great uncle.
He was 104? Damn.
In some generations.
Yeah, it was mad generations. Because his brother was their dad's, I think, grandfather. That's what it was.
So what relation was he to the Mad King? No? I'm talking about it?
He was great uncle.
Great uncle?
Yeah. Yeah, because his brother had a son, and then that son had the Mad King, is what it was. So, yeah. So there's a lot of, I actually think I might go back and read those books.
The lore books?
Yeah, because there's like the one that goes into, was it Rhaegar, who married his sisters, Visenya, and Varys. Like, that story seems mad dope. And I think I actually want to go back and read that. I actually think that was, I don't know, but it was like Egg and Buck or something like that was one of those books, or one of those stories like that. But that actually looked mad dope. And I think that's what HBO should really do as the next series. So we're probably going to have to sit through a whole bunch more incest shit. But I do think that story seems pretty dope and would like to see that.
It's going to be very interesting when Bran reveals John's true lineage and Danny finds out.
Yeah. I just wonder who's going to like vomit in their mouth first.
Yeah.
Well, either one of them really be even bothered. Like, how bothered will they be? Who's going to be the most bothered?
Me personally, think John will be the most bothered. Because Danny don't give a fuck. Danny trying to rule everything. So Danny going to be like, whatever, nigga. You see how she was doing the other dude she talked to? John's going to be like...
I honestly don't think Danny will be too bothered by it at all.
I don't think Danny's
She gonna slow. We already did. It's too late now.
Can't take it back, and she pregnant? I'm still calling that. So, Maester Aemon is dying. He's sick. And, well, he does die. Him and Gilly, like, I like that Gilly was there and a relationship with, Gilly and her baby. And he told Sam, get them south before, because he knows what's coming. He knows something coming, so just get them south. So, Sansa had got this candle from that old lady from Wintertown who told her, you got friends everywhere, so you're never alone. And she tries to implore Theon, because at this point, well, we had to endure another central rape scene, I guess, I guess. We had to endure another one. Sansa on her wedding night when Ramsay made Theon stand there and watch. So at this point now we realize, I don't know what the time period that's gone by here is, that she's in there because they've been married, because she's got mad bruises on her from him, saying he's coming in there every night and he's like abusing her and having sex with her and then locks her in the room all day long. She tries to get Theon to light the candle for her, and Theon...
And more snitching.
Exactly. So you think he's going to go light the candle? Nope. He went straight to Ramsay with his old reek ass. Told Ramsay. Ramsay brings Sansa out of the room, takes her downstairs, chit-chat with her or whatever, that false sense of security. Just to be like, oh yeah, about that. So that old lady, that friend of yours, she ended her ass alive. And she had the audacity to die before I even got done. Because he seemed like he was genuine. So much where she had a heart attack before he even got to her face and like didn't give her any information, which I'm just like, yo, shout out to her for being the only non-snitch on the show. But Sansa feels bad because Sansa has a tender heart.
That would have been my last straw for Theon. Like, he would have had no chances after that. I just went, okay, all right, I see.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Loki was.
Yeah, I was about to say she probably was done with fucking Theon.
And Loki was like, nah, nigga, that's it. She wasn't in that bed bruised no more waiting on dinner. He came in there and she was sitting at that table like, yo, we need to talk right now.
So Stannis hits us with the Luke Cage quote, always forward. That's all I wrote for Stannis in that scene. So Gilly is about to get, roughed up. Well, no, Sam gets his ass beat by two other of the Night's Watch guys. But he doesn't go down with, like, he's not about to give up. He was about to stand up and take that ass whooping for his woman. And Snow comes in, or a Ghost. Ghost comes in. So we know where Ghost is at now. Now we know where Ghost is.
You're protecting Sam at the wall.
Walks in for 2.5 seconds, growls, and then dips the fuck back out. Because I would have thought that when Sam's ass fell back down and Gilly was like sitting there like, oh, are you okay? I would have thought that Ghost maybe would have came over there and like started sniffing him or licking on him or something. We didn't even see Ghost again. We didn't even see him exit the scene. He just...
They ain't have enough money for that.
Back to this budget.
That was his cameo.
Just a reminder that he still exists, basically. So Dany and Dario talk about cleaning up the city. And Dario's like, you know what? Every good ruler, had to shed some blood. And you're not going to be able to remove all of the brutality out of your reign. As much as you want to come off as a peaceful, niceful person and you are doing great shit, you're going to have to get, like, your hands are going to get dirty. You're not going to be, it's not going to be this clean cut thing, which is, was a very good point. Lady Tyrell goes to the High Septum. And this was a moment where there was two old people in the scene. I didn't want to ship them. I just wanted her to fuck him up. Like, I wanted her to punch him.
That's when you went to see the old people fight.
Yes.
Old people
fight more in my life.
I wanted to see Lady Tyrell like beat the fuck out of him. She probably had hands back in the day. So she had just like pushed him down them steps with nobody in there but them.
And that's exactly what she would have said.
And she could have took him out if she really wanted to. But they sit there and have a conversation, and again, she doesn't pull her punches. She's just like, what the fuck is it that you want? Like you playing this old nice guy of the people role, and that's just what will get you so far. So what is it that you really want? And he's still, I was buying it. I was like, maybe he just really does care about the people. Maybe he just wants the best.
What do you think he really wanted? Honestly, back then, what did he really want?
Honestly, at this...
Sansa for sure, but like, okay, I guess whatever it was, it would be Sansa by his side. Like, what do you think he really, really wants?
Oh, it's my Littlefinger? Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought you were talking about the High Septum. I'm about to say.
No, High Septum, I don't know what that nigga wanted.
What the Littlefinger, I think at this point, still thought there was a possibility for him to have Sansa and sit on the Iron Throne. Like, I think for him, Endgame was the Iron Throne. I don't think he ain't want that fucking Warden of the North thing. If he could full on, I think he would take the Warden of the North if he could get it. But I think if he could find a route that would lead him to the Iron Throne, that's the route he would take. I think the Warden of the North was probably something that at this point is going to be like, all right, as much shit has happened, if I could just lock that position up, then I'm good.
I feel like that was a slap in the face to Ned. Like, that was one of those things.
Oh, of course. Like, oh, yeah. Like, we know he hated Ned. Being able to be Warden of the North would have, he would have took that shit. And then he would have been king in the North. Like, he would have took that shit and ran with the whole North thing.
Oh, he'd have been rejecting everybody that, hey, I'm king of the North, I'm king of the North, I'm king of the North.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think he would have probably, like, he would have let Stannis through. Like, he would have helped Stannis get down there, because I think that he believes that he could have just kind of did his own thing and been comfortable if Stannis was ruling in the South as opposed to Cersei. I think that would have been way more comfortable for him if Stannis ran shit as opposed to Cersei running shit, though. And him holding the North would have been what he was cool with. Tommen is sad. He tells his mom he's sad because he can't do shit and everybody locked up and he can't do nothing. And Cersei reassures him that no matter what, she will always be there for him and she will literally burn cities to the ground to protect her baby. And she was not joking. Foreshadowing. Jaime tries to convince Marcella to leave Dorne. Marcella's like, no.
I'm happy.
Yes, I'm happy here. The summer weather agrees with me. And she's in love with Trystane, and she played her part. Her mom told her she had to go fucking get married. She didn't want to do it, but she did it, And now she's genuinely in love and she's happy. So now she's not leaving. Like, y'all made me do this. Y'all made me come here. You're not about to make me go back.
Yeah, she's like, I'm really not messing with King's Landing right now, so it's fine. I don't even like the whole vibe y'all got going on down there.
I did like that she was willing to stand up to Jamie, at least for her happiness. Like, she was willing to be like, no, I'm not going. I did admire that. She's obviously got bigger balls than Tommy. Maybe if the ladies in this family are, like, strong.
The ones with the actual will.
Yeah, because for the most part, Lannister men are all just like, okay. So.
Nah, don't talk about man Tyrion like that.
No, I was trying to figure out where Tyrion fell on this scale of things, and he might fall somewhere in the middle. He closer to the strong side because obviously, he tells everybody what the fuck he thinks. But at the back of it all, at the end of it, it's all for his family. Like, he legitimately was trying to do right by his family, which also brings some shit into question later on. But we ain't there yet, so we'll talk about it when we get there. Season 7. But during the fight with these sand snakes, Bronn had got.
No, this was during.
We got so they're in jail now, and it has poison starting to kick in. So this is when he has the whole scene with the young sand snake.
With her fine self. What's her name?
All sense of himself.
What's her name again?
Nymeria.
Top five.
Yeah. She probably good.
What you mean probably?
Well, I'm just trying to see her.
We've loosely referenced this before. She top five.
Okay.
Because I think you had somebody in your top 5 that I was just like, as a dude, no.
Okay, so it's your top 5. So anyway, the point was Bronn was poisoned, and they give him the cure. Littlefinger finds out like he doesn't have much left because when he goes to meet with Lady Tyrell, he walked into his tore up ass brothel. Dynasty, and an error for him.
Gotta find a new job, buddy.
This is also when we get the full truth of what happened to Joffrey. We learn that Lady Olenna and Littlefinger were the ones who plotted this shit and made it happen. Like, they're the ones who brought down the king. And she makes it very clear to Littlefinger that if he don't figure out a fucking way to help her, she's gonna have no problem throwing his ass underneath a bus.
She's like, I'm old. Yeah. All right. I live my life. It's fine.
It's ain't the bus. You gotta go on Lady O where she was like, bro, they gonna find pieces of your body all over Westeros, bro. You did.
Daniel opened up the fighting pit. So Jorah, who's now been sent away 2 times. 2 times been told to get the fuck on. Get your ass up out of here. Makes his way back again into Dany's good, into her presence at the fighting pits. And actually, no, wait, was it the fighting pit yet, or was this when they first met? No, this was the second time he's told to go away.
No, this is the fighting pits.
Remember the fighting pits?
Yeah, because he's already brought her Tyrion.
Or is this when he brings her Tyrion? Because I have Tyrion meets Dany in this episode. Was this when they met?
It wasn't the main fighting pits, it was the local, and they showed up. And he was about to get him up out of here, and that's what Tyrion was about.
So this is when they met?
This is her first time meeting Tyrion.
Okay. This is Dany's first time meeting Tyrion. So this is time number 2. This is the second time Jorah gets told to get the fuck out of the city. So Cersei visits Marjorie. She decides to throw that whole sister thing back in her face. So now it's Cersei's time to be a smartass with the whole calling her sister and shit. And Marjorie's like, I don't want to see you back in here. Get your spiteful ass up out of here and go. And Cersei talks to the High Septum, who then shows his hand as far as like, oh yeah, by the way, so we done heard some shit about you too. And what do you gotta say?
Yeah, you don't believe us? Hey, Lancel, come holler at me real quick.
Another narc comes out the woodwork.
Damn, this is the Super Snitcher episode.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Snitching. So Lancel tells all Cersei business, and she gets hemmed up by the one of the septums or scepters, what do they call the fucking females? I thought they called them septums too. Didn't they call them septums? No, the ladies who like worked with the High Sparrow.
Yeah, the girl, the lady who's saying shame and all that shit.
Yeah, and then what was?
They call it septa. They're septas.
Septus. Okay, that's what it was.
She was Septa Unella.
Yes, so Septa Unella puts them paws on Cersei. I'm glad that they cast a woman who like was She wasn't like big, like overweight or anything like that, but she was solidly bigger than Cersei. So she legitimately her ass and was like, "Nah, you come on me." And Cersei ends up in a damn dungeon of her own. My, how the tables have turned.
But she leaves her with that last foreshadowing message. My face gonna be the last face you see before you die.
Yes, she made it clear. She said that. I was like, well, the first time I seen this, I was like, damn, she gonna die. Like,
Hey, Unella. Hey, Unella, I don't know how much longer you're gonna be on the show, but just know if Cersei said you're gonna die, you gonna die.
Yeah, you did.
You ain't gonna make it.
So episode 8, Hardhome.
There you go. You better have mad notes on this episode since you wanted to skip to it 3 times.
So, okay, so this episode starts off Tyrion and Dany. Poor Jorah gets exiled. He got the boot again, but we get to see Tyrion and Dany talking. Okay, that's what the fuck it opens with. Tyrion and Dany. Arya gets her first job. She's got to go watch this gambler man who's taking bets. Basically, was he even betting or was he just?
Yeah, he was betting. He ain't shit. He was betting that the dudes could go through the whole trip with no incident. They come back, no incident, and then he was like, "Nah, I ain't paying you."
Okay, so it wasn't just like high risk ass life insurance policy.
Nah, it was no risk because he knew he was going to take the money anyway.
Okay, so she's supposed to watch this guy and take on this role and then eventually kill him. Okay, so we get Arya. Cersei gets interrogated. She gets accused of fornication, incest, and murder, all of which she's not going to confess to. And she tells, what the hell?
Unella.
No, the one who made the Hound, or the Mountain. The one who made the Mountain to fucking Frankenstein.
Qyburn.
Yeah, Qyburn. So she tells Qyburn she ain't about to confess to shit. And he's like, okay, I mean, it's the way out, but if you ain't going to do it, nah, it's okay. We'll do whatever you want to do. I'm going to follow suit. So we get Cersei. Then we get back to Sansa. Oh, Sansa and Theon are prisoners. So they're both prisoners still. What else? We get Sansa. We get to Tyrion. Like, I feel like they made it a point to touch on almost like every other thing before they got to Jon. Like,
they try to get all that out the way.
Yeah. Because I'm sitting here and I'm watching it. I'm like, wait a minute. This is Hardhome. Where the fuck are the zombies? And I, like, as I was taking these notes. So Tyrion talks to Dany. He wants to see if Dany's the right kind of evil. Like, if she, because everybody's a little crazy, everybody's a little evil. But, ask her if she's the right kind of terrible or whatever. And then she decides to make him her advisor. So Tyrion gets a promotion that I don't even think he was even looking for. A job he wasn't even looking for. But now he got a job. Seriously, still ain't confessing and she's drinking off the ground. So, this episode is an hour and 40 minutes long.
Is it really?
Then we finally get the Hardhome.
It's like
once John was once they got there, like sailing in on a boat, I was like, yo, how fucking long has this episode been on? 33 minutes before they actually got there.
Is that episode really that long?
It's an hour and 40 minutes in total.
It's an hour and what?
Previews. So it might legitimately be about like maybe an hour and 30. I don't know. There's probably 10 minutes worth of credits before, 5 minutes worth of credit before, 5 minutes worth of credits after the episode. So it's probably an hour and 30. But when you hit pause on HBO, it says an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, shit. Yeah. No, didn't realize that.
Yeah. So Wildlings. So, okay. This episode, once you get to this point, it's like, okay, it's been on for a little while. We got mad shit, and I know we still got mad shit to go. So I want every episode to be like this long, but full of actual action, like not filler shit. Like this had filler stuff at the front of it. And then we get to the meat and potatoes. So I need an hour and 40-minute episode with no filler in this last season. Like every episode should have like very little to no filler coming up next season for sure. So we meet the Lord of Bones and the elders with the Wildlings. They got their own little council thing going on, and one of them mentions large ice spiders when they're debating on whether or not they're going to actually help Jon and Tormund, because Jon is the enemy. The Southerners have always been the enemies. They're all pretty skeptical, which they have every right to be. I wouldn't necessarily trust these motherfuckers neither, so can't blame them. But the chick, we never get a name for her. At least I don't remember her name. I don't remember hearing her name at all.
Ooh.
The female wildling who was in there, who was on that council.
Carsey.
What was her name?
Carsey.
Oh, okay. Oh, she did have a name. She was like, yeah, she hates Thins just like everybody else hates Thins. So no one likes the Thins. No one likes them at all. So that's been a reoccurring thing among the Wildlings. So they start boarding the boat.
Because they murdering people and eating.
Everybody got to survive somehow.
Nigga roasting forearms. Like, wait, what? You eating fingers?
You know, I'm not even going to try to justify that because it's going to sound terrible. So they start boarding people on the boats. They send them out to the ships, you know, to get them away from there and get them, you know, south of the wall. And John tells them, look, you're going to get past the wall. You're going to be able to settle in the south. You'll be fine. Then we start hearing like this weird noise and people start running because they realize that White Walkers are coming. Now, what the fuck was this? Why was this random wall with the gate right there? Like that, I didn't.
Me either.
Like after watching this, I was like, wait a minute, why was that there? Was this like essentially something like closing off this shipyard or this dock or whatever? Like I didn't understand why that wall and that big ass door were there, but there was a wall and a door. So when they shut it off and like everybody was yelling and screaming trying to get through, and then all of a sudden it goes silent. Like that's when it was like, oh shit, like shit's about to get real once that silence hit. Like it just went completely silent for a second, and then shit turns the fuck up because they all started turning into fucking White Walkers and trying to get fucking through, breaking down the walls. This was a very fast-paced scene. It became a lengthy scene, and it was really fast-paced. And I realized the only other episode that was really obviously this was the predecessor to the Battle of the Bastards, for sure. As far as like how fast it went, all the action, and what was going on in it, there was a lot. John's not going to go to the boat. He stays and tries to get as many people out as he can because that's kind of guy John is, which is a nice thing to do. That's what you should be doing. He's trying to look out for everybody. And we get our first. Is that what they are essentially? Ice generals? What the fuck are these dudes?
Ice generals?
Is that what they were
called?
called?
I don't know they are. I mean, I have no clue. I would just call them White Walkers. We'll call them the White Generals, I guess. I don't know.
So we get to see our first one of those in action. And my note here was this dude was Neo. Like he moved like Neo from the Matrix. The way he was just fucking dodging and dipping and fucking sword swing, or first off that big ass axe swing. The way he was dipping and dodging that, and John was just like getting his ass.
You know what? I'm gonna voice my displeasure with Game of Thrones. All these White Walkers and whites and everybody just murking everybody, and then you get to John, and this nigga just throwing them around left and right. Like, I mean, yes, I don't want John to die, but for the validity of the show. I need you to like stab him. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you got this big sword in one hand and you walk up to him and then you throw him and then you kick him? I'm just like, you murked the thin dude in like two seconds. Got him up out of there. He swung at you twice. You shattered his damn axe on the third swing and hit him with the little one poke, and it was over. But for John, they got to pull the theatrics and just like, come on.
When John was trying to get the dragon glass bag out of wherever it was stuck at, that was the one thing I noticed here. I was like, he had more than enough time where he could have killed John.
I didn't even see him. Could just walk up on him and poke him with the sword behind the back. End scene. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to happen, but come on, man. I need some continuity here.
Yeah, which is like, why didn't he just? Maybe he needed to go fight. He's been bored. He wanted to get
word.
That's what we're gonna talk about.
Word. Maybe he needed to fight. So then he would have fought the Thin instead of murking them in 11 seconds.
So this fight goes on. John gets, the wind fucking knocked out of him. Finally gets his hand back on Longclaw again, and a couple more little slashes, and the old dude is dead. And this is when John realizes, oh, that's interesting. Evidently, my sword can kill them too. But he still didn't piece it together because he doesn't piece it together until he's back talking to Sam again. So yeah, John ain't the sharpest. I guess you're in the middle of getting your ass kicked, and this shit is not what you expected, and you're probably not thinking right. So he takes them out. So one down. Now we discover later on that when you take out one of these generals, that all the people that they've turned also die. That didn't seem to happen here. Like
no, that ain't happened.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Like there was no nothing with that here in this scene.
We ain't seen one dude drop.
Which either is like bad, like continuation on somewhere, because they mention it like it happens later on, but it's like
we see it. They kill them and then
maybe
the boys drop.
So we see 1-1 out here fighting off Mad half mad White Walkers. That poor lady doesn't make it to the boat. She dies.
Why ain't one just like cannonball on a lot of these people? You know what I'm saying?
There was so many useful things he could have done. He could have just stepped on him. Like, he could have just been like, kicking
Right.
him.
You could have literally just marched through all of them. You could have barrel rolled. You could have ran full speed and then just jumped in the air and like
Swing it.
and like belly flopped on like 1,000 of them real quick.
Yeah, million. It would be interesting to see how taking down a giant to turn a giant into a White Walker would not be fucking easy to do at all. Like, that would be hard. Like, you literally had to like stab in its eyes or some shit like that to be able to.
Night King, you just gotta get the javelin popping again.
Yeah,
He's taking out dragons midair while they moving. Come on. You could get a damn giant. Like you.
So at this point, they're like, all right, we need to get the fuck out of here because we not gonna be able to take off. We gotta go. So Tormund's pretty fast. He's pretty light on his feet as they're running to the boat. They get in said boat. We get the Night King, like, getting even closer, up close and personal with the Night King. And at this point, also, one is like, nah, I'm getting the fuck up here. So he's like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm cool too. I'm straight. Which leads me to which leads me to another statement. How the fuck did one get to the wall?
You know,
he ain't hopping on those ships.
No.
He ain't walking the bottom of the ocean or the sea.
Maybe he just like walked over to another piece of land. Maybe there was a piece of land somewhere nearby that he like hopped on and then walked walked along the street.
Continuity, Game of Thrones.
Let's not try to figure it out.
Right, continuity. It goes back to what Armani said. They ain't had the bread. They were just like, hey man, he got here. Just know he got here. He here.
That's all.
Don't ask how he got here. Just know he got here.
My question though was more so, why didn't he pull the boat? Like, he just walked past them. He could have pulled that boat faster, so they got away faster. He's like, yeah, no, y'all roll that bitch on your own. I'm good. I've done enough today. And then the Night King hits us with the come at me.
Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. You see everybody be killed? Rise, my children.
That was, and John, like, the look on John's face was like, oh, fuck.
Yo, on my mama, when I first watched it for the first time, I had the exact same look watching this episode. Yo, I rewound that, like, last 10 minutes the first time I seen this episode, like, 3 times. Just because I was like, yo, did this dude... I think I put it on my Facebook when I watched it. Like, yo, did this dude... I know I'm late, people. It's already happened. But did this dude just raise his hands? Like, and like thousands of people just... Yeah.
Stood the fuck up. Like, that was nuts. So...
I think I was more shook at that moment than any moment of the show. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, and then it was like, okay, so this is what the show is really about. Like, this is what it's really about.
Yeah. When it happened, I was like, oh, everybody about to die. I was like, oh, y'all don't stand a chance. If this dude is killing you and then he could, so it's less on your team and now it's more on my team. And
you know what? Truthfully, I feel like at this point too, it became fuck everything else that's really going on. Like, everything else is now just fluff until we get to this. Like, this is really what the fuck, that this is endgame. Everything else is literally just filler at this point. After this point, everything else is just filler. Like, who gives a fuck what Littlefinger wants? Because he ain't getting it. Yeah, he can want what he wants all he wants, but at some point he gotta deal with that guy. And Littlefinger ain't ready for that. Like, no one's ready for that. So, and the fact that no one knows it's coming at this point except for John, it's just crazy. So, all right, we're gonna take a quick break.
This week's episode of the House of Lords podcast has been brought to you by
us.
Yes, it's brought to you by us. So if you would like to help us sustain this podcast and grow this podcast, here's a few great ways you can do so.
You could share the link to our podcast on your social medias. Let it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or even MySpace if you're feeling nostalgic.
Yeah, use the hashtag BlurredPod. That's our hashtag. You can join the conversations that we're having. Let us know what you think about the things that we're talking about. On Twitter, you can use the hashtag PodIn. That's a now listening hashtag. Those other people know what you're listening to, as well as a great way to find other podcasts by creators of color. If you want to step it up a little bit and you want to help us out financially, you can check out our Patreon, located at patreon.com/House of Blurs. We keep it simple. There you can donate as little as $1 a month, up to even more, whatever you're so inclined to do. There's some great giveaways on there depending on the different tier levels. Definitely check it out.
Or if you're not too big on commitment, you can visit our PayPal at House of Blurs, and you can just hit us with a one-time donation because anything counts.
Yes, every dollar counts. Any notes that are left with those donations, being on Patreon or on PayPal, will be read out on the show. So we'll definitely give you a shout out because we greatly appreciate it. Again, thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
So we pick back up season 5, episode 8, Dance of Dragons. All of Stannis' shit is going to hell. Like, everything's falling apart for poor Stannis. His camp's getting burned up. So some dudes sneak into the camp in the middle of the night and start burning shit up. They kill horses, they burn down tents, and they wreak havoc. And he gets up and he's just like, what the fuck? You know, Melisandre, however, everything you keep...
She gone. She gone.
It's just not working out well.
She was like, I don't want no part of this.
Wait, we haven't gotten her dipping out yet.
Oh.
This is before she dips out because he hasn't even made the ultimate sacrifice yet. This is when he tells her, you still have, you know, some great weapons in your arsenal, and he's like, what the fuck what am I supposed to do now?
What you talking about?
Yeah. And she's like, you still have, you know, the king's blood that you can sacrifice. And he's looking at her like, you can't. Before he goes and talks to Shireen and breaks the bad news to her, Stannis is going to get Davos the fuck up out of here because he knows good and damn well Davos would not be on board with this because he knows how much Davos hates Melisandre, and he knows that he would not rock with this plan. So he comes up with this thing. I'm going to send you to the wall to try and convince the Night's Watch. No, not convince. You tell the Night's Watch, I need fucking people.
Tell them you need to send me people.
Yes. Send food, send people, send horses, and like, hey, fucking sap. And Davos was like, hey, well, let me take your wife and your daughter with me back to, you know, to the wall. And he's like, nah, like, at least let me take Shireen. This ain't no place for a child to be, which legitimately was the truth. And he's still like, no, my family stays with me to the end. So Davos has to go off by himself. So Jaime is on the boat. He's, you know, convinced Oberyn's brother to, you know, as a sign of good faith, you know, let them come and visit King's Landing, put Cersei's mind to rest that everything is okay. Because clearly the Sand Snakes also, like, she was almost harmed inside. And he's like, look, I don't want a war. I'm trying to be cool with you people. So I'll let Marcella go, but you're going to take Tristan with you because that still has to be a thing. So take them both, you know, let them both go on a little vacation, visit. And he's like, okay. So they, you know, get on the boat. Arya spots Sir Meryn Trant. So while she's out doing her little spy stuff, her Harriet the Spy mission, she spots Sir Meryn Trant, who was the top of her list, and all her killer senses start tingling.
She just said, fuck my original mission.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that dude. The thin man, yeah, he can wait.
It's interesting. So Cersei sent Lord Tyrell on this mission like a whole ass season ago, and he just now getting the Bravos.
It really did. It was really like the beginning. It was really like 5 or 6 episodes ago.
We have had Varys they got from like fucking Marine to King's Landing in like 10 minutes. How the fuck did it take him so long to get the Bravos?
They got from King's Landing to, where did they go?
Fucking north of the wall?
No. Where was that first episode when he put him out the box? Pentos.
He's
using a guy from King's Landing to Pentos to Marine back to King's Landing in 2 episodes. But it took this nigga a whole ass 3 years
to get there. And it wasn't no like, okay, it was just in the background shit because we had Arya legitimately go through fucking full on training.
Yeah.
Like, she's been at the House of Black and White for a while. So this is definitely a little slip up in some continuity here because this is like, oh yeah, we forgot about him. We did send him there, didn't we?
Continuity.
So we see Lord Tyrell, we see Sir Meryn Trant, they're in Bravos, you know, negotiating with some bankers.
Wow. Full stalker mode.
And he has no clue what is going on with his kids, which is the fucked up part. He has no idea that his kids' lives are going to shit right now. Let's see. Tyrion's not a fan of the fighting pits, and, you know, he's sitting up there with, what did we say his name was? V? whatever the fuck the dude that Danny agrees to marry.
His dough something. His dough
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I think last episode you referred to him as like his dar Raheem.
Yeah. His dough Abdul Rahim. That's who I'm calling for now. His dough Abdul Rahim.
So they're sitting there, and you know what? He's kind of perked up a lot from being in that fucking dungeon about to get eaten by a dragon. Like he's sitting out here mad, kind of bold with it, like just
because he made it out. My mom made it,
I guess. But to think that she wouldn't fucking still feed his ass to a dragon, like bitch, you can still have an accident. Don't get too comfy. Like he's getting real comfortable, and she kind of side eyeing him, looking like,
well, you gotta get comfortable. That's her fiance. It's her intended, as they call it.
Her affiant. They're sitting there. Tyrion's not a fan of the fighting or whatever. As they bring out the fighters, this is when Jorah makes it back for the third time. So this is when Jorah is standing there, and Dany's like,
"This nigga." She ain't said it this time. She was really concerned this time. She was like, "Oh, this the fighting pits.
Yeah, like you about to get fucked up here, homie.
You might die.
And I wasn't like I wanted you to go away, but now I'm not sure if I wanted you to die. Like
yeah, I don't want to watch you die.
So, but needless to say, she claps her hands and the fighting commences. As they're fighting, and fucking old ass Jorah is actually winning.
Not at first.
Okay.
He was getting his ass beat at first.
As he should have. He's old as fuck. Like he's old compared to, and like it's not like. Well, I guess he did spend a lot of time with Dothraki, so I guess maybe it would seem plausible that he would be in good fighting shape because he's been out here with hanging out with Dothrakis and shit like that. And actually, it seemed like he was with the Dothraki before he even got to Dany. So it was like he seemed like he's the one who kind of set up that whole relationship. Like, didn't he kind of wasn't he like brokering that deal?
Kinda. He did know them.
So
he definitely did know them.
I guess that makes sense. I guess now that I think about it after the fact, maybe Jorah was in good fighting shape. So he does his damn thing. He survives. And then it looks like he's going to throw a dark dagger into the stands towards Dany. She's like, what the fuck? And this is when the Sons of the Harpies decide to lose their goddamn minds. So, where the fuck are all of the Unsullied at?
I said and watching this, I was just like, my G, it's not that many. It's really not that many of y'all protecting y'all queen.
Exactly. It was like, how didn't she buy like 9,000 of them? Where are they at? Like, I mean, I get that they weren't all going to be like standing up in there, but you would think that based on everything that's going on, they would have been at the gates on the outside though. Like they would have been mad at like, they probably should be patrolling the streets, guarding the entrance to Marine. Like, where the fuck is all these like these Sons of the Harpy dudes got up in there way too easy. There's a shit ton of them and not that many Unsullied. And then when like they were trying to get out and escape, their exits kept getting closed off by Sons of the Harpies and their friends. So it's like, again, where the fuck was the Unsullied outside of this stadium?
I know a lot of them did get killed in that whole fracas, the first fracas.
Okay, so then that then begs the question: where the fuck did all them soldiers show up with that when she decided to march on fucking Harrenhal or wherever it was they went later on? She had mad and like where were all of those guys?
Indeed, that is another continuity question.
But anyway, so she don't even need them because she's got Drogon.
Does she? At this point, we don't know. This nigga been missing for 87 days.
He drops in and he saves his mom's life though. So he starts, flaming motherfuckers up. I realized that the sound the dragons make are the sounds the velociraptors or the T-Rexes make on Jurassic Park as well. It's the exact same sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they just borrowed some Jurassic Park noises?
Yeah. It's like, we got this.
Hey man, let me get that soundtrack. Hey, can I get that Velociraptor soundtrack?
Yeah, there was probably some working together there. Somebody worked on Jurassic Park at some point. They were like, you know what? Fuck it. They're all lizards. So Drogon swoops in. He saves his mom's life and gets Dany the fuck out of there. So this is the first time we get to see Dany riding a dragon.
Was it a moment for you like it was for me?
Yes. It was like, man, so much shit is just like between this and then go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I was like, oh, it's official now. She that bitch. She's for real now.
Yes.
Ain't nobody fucking with her no more.
And it's interesting that that came on the end of this episode, which showed that Dany was like, okay, you're right, she's that bitch, and it's real. As opposed to the end of the last episode where we get poor John fucking like beat and fucking defeated. Like shit is not going his way. The whole fire and ice contrast is like real. So episode 10, season 5, episode 10. So the season 5 finale, Mother's Mercy. So Stannis thinks that if he burns his fucking child at the stake, he'll have good luck and everything will go his way.
It's not a good thought process, bro. You could have had better ideas.
It's like, if just sucking the blood out of a fake king with some leeches and I was able to have 2 people the fuck up out of here, why the fuck would you need to like full on burn Shireen to win this war? Like I would think maybe we just get a little bit of blood up out of her. Like why didn't fucking Stannis offer to open up a vein? How about you just take the blood of the king? Like
I am a king. You could just let me slice a finger and get a couple drops in here.
Yeah, take an ear or some shit. Like let me sacrifice some shit. I'm willing to sacrifice some things. Let me a couple fingers, a toes, an ear, something before you decide to burn your child. Like with that escalate to me, like there just seemed like there was no questions asked. It's like you keep saying king's blood is powerful. Well, what more powerful king's blood is there than the fucking blood of the king? Like, okay, crazy white lady.
It threw me off just because you keep seeing, the prophecies, quote unquote, come true, but it's just like he said before, like all of this isn't really getting me anywhere close to the throne. Like people are dying.
If anything, it's gotten you further from the throne, because before you were at least at Dragonstone, you were near King's Landing. Now you're all the way in the fucking north. Mm-hmm. So it's just not working. So they burned Shireen at the stake. That was a tough scene. And I'm glad that they didn't hold back and they didn't edit it. As hard as it was to see a child burned at the stake, I'm glad they didn't pull the punch like that. Like the fact that you heard her screaming,
crying for mom and dad.
Yes.
I'm watching it and begging them to stop. It was tough.
And you know what? And I was thinking at this moment, I was like, oh, now she wants to be a mom. Now.
Right. The baby's literally minutes away from dying. And now you want to be mom.
So, but at least she, I guess better late than never. No, it's not better late than never.
That's it.
No, not better late than never. She's just fucking too fucking late. And, she gets so upset if the dudes hold her back and Shireen dies. So the next day, which actually is like the start of episode 10. So Stannis thinks it worked. He thinks, okay, we're going to have a good day today. And the dude is like, hey, we got some bad news. We got something we got to show you. And he's just like, oh, fuck, well, I don't know what's going on. And then he finds his wife has hung herself in the woods. Well, first, I guess like a bunch of dudes had deserted. And they left. Because evidently they were not on board with children burned. They didn't sign up for fucking kids to be burned at the stake to win a war. So they deserted. And then they tell him that they take him to his wife's body who's hanging from a tree. And he's like, oh, great. And then they're like, oh, well, one more thing, buddy. As if this morning had to start off at shit.
Oh, by the way.
The red woman was seen, taking the fuck off.
She slid, half your men slid, your daughter's dead, your wife killed herself, and oh, by the way, Melisandre slid. The red
witch is gone. And he's like, you know what? We're just going to keep going with what the fuck we're doing. Let's go.
We're going to walk. We're going to walk them in Winterfell in the snow.
Like, we might as well finish what the fuck we started at this point. I mean, he ain't got shit else to lose. He really had nothing else to lose at that point.
He really didn't.
So they, start the little march, and you got Sansa up in the window watching, and I guess she's, hoping like, okay, maybe I'll get the fuck out of here. And I know she had her candle with her lit up in that window. So she did light her candle. Insert Rent music.
Are you serious?
I never thought about it till this moment.
Even though I love that song, but seriously.
So, since we're lighting candles. So she's up there and she's watching this, and Ramsay sends like all of his fucking minutes Stannis, and that shit was just a fucking slaughter. Like, the way they went at them and then the way they surrounded them, it was just, you never had a chance, Stannis. Like, this was not, he never had a fucking chance. So as we see, it like literally like goes to that and then like cuts to the fucking snow and like they're all like half dead. Well, not half dead, they're all like dead. And Stannis is fucked up and wounded by a tree. And in walks Brienne, who finally gets to avenge Renly. And she was like, Renly of House Baratheon, King of the Andals, and the First Men.
I'm so tired of these intros. I'm so tired of these intros.
The one true king. So it's like, and Stannis looking like, just get on with it, lady. Like, just do what you came to do.
Hurry up, please.
Yeah, like it's been a bad morning. Just get this the fuck over with. No, she kills Stannis. So she puts Stannis out of his misery. All the while, Sansa has decided, you know what? I'm getting the fuck up out of here because this shit is not gonna like. It don't like. Yeah, no, it's bad news bears. So she decides to take off, and as she's trying to leave, she gets stopped by good old Miranda and her beau, and who's also got Theon with her. So Miranda's talking her shit, and Sansa was like, "Look, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die while I'm still like me. Fuck this shit. I ain't about to turn me into fucking Reek Jr." Which, damn, what? Truthfully, like that's probably what would have happened to her at this point. Like if she had gotten pregnant, had a baby, yeah, at that part I think Ramsay would have started chipping away at parts of her. Like that would have been a wrap. So yeah. And then Theon finally wakes the fuck up a little bit and pushes Miranda over the balcony. That was such a great scene of her falling and fucking hitting the pavement. Not even gonna lie. That was like pretty well done.
Hey, you kind of evil.
She deserved it. I mean, let's be real. We're talking about she deserved it. Miranda deserved that. She deserved to go over that wall. She was a bitch. So, and not a very nice one either. Sansa and Theon standing there looking, and then, Ramsay and his men are making it back or coming back to the castle, and they're like, all right, well, we need to get the fuck up out of here. So, Theon takes Sansa, and they run. And where do they run to? To the top of the fucking castle wall. Now, I get it's been snowing for a while, but, like, they jumped off the fucking wall of Winterfell. Like a wall. I guess it probably wasn't the highest wall, but it was still an exterior wall.
You ain't jumped into some snow before from a high place? We used to do that, jumping out of trees and jumping in the snow. It's realistic. You don't go that far down. It's a lot of snow. We jumped off of trees into like maybe 2 feet of snow. You don't hit ground. So obviously, if this is the north, and it's been snowing for 7 years, type shit. Like I'm sure it's probably 3-4 feet of snow on that ground.
I've climbed a lot of trees and played on roofs, but I don't usually jump off of them onto snow. I've never done that. No. I've watched other people fall off of roofs and out of trees, but I'm usually like, I'll just get down the way I got back up.
No. Oh, you gotta have fun.
Fun is not possibly breaking my fucking neck.
Yes, Winterfell, yes. It's a really high jump, but I'm saying we jumped out of trees that ain't crazy high. Like I ain't trying to die.
Well, I'm saying, I've jumped out of trees, but it was like not that high. Not even like jumping out of a tree. And actually, now I'm thinking about this. Like I've jumped out of bad trees onto the ground, but no, I've never thought to like fucking jump and try to just land in snow, which is probably safer than just landing on fucking grass or whatever. Evidently, that was the way my 12-year-old mind thought.
All right, that's your 12-year-old mind, but at the same time, you see what her and Theon had to do. That shit is for life survival. Like you would do that if you had to survive.
Fuck yeah! And you figure like, okay, this will possibly break an ankle, and I'll get the fuck away. I can hobble away, but if I stay here, I know I'm gonna be fucked up. So, when faced with that choice, you fucking YOLO, and that's what they did. So Arya sneaks into a brothel in Bravos. And we learn that Samarin Trant is a nasty motherfucker who likes little girls. And it was like, he just wanted to beat on them.
No, he don't like little girls. He likes children. There's a difference. Little girls might be, they brought in that one girl that you could clearly tell was a teenager, like 15, 16. He was like, too old. Nigga, what? She's like 12. Too old? Okay. So you gross.
Yeah. So that made it even easier to want to get him the fuck up out of here, because I was like, oh, this motherfucker really just needs to die. Like, this is just terrible. So yeah, we finally get to see her, and not just slit his throat, but she stabbed the fuck out of him. Like, she murdered him with a vengeance, and it was just like, damn.
Say it again?
I said she murdered him with a vengeance. Like, it wasn't a little, like, she didn't just slit his throat. She didn't just, like, a couple pokes and No, she fucking she stabbed him multiple times. Like she fucked him up bad. All while telling her who she was and why she was there. Unfortunately,
yeah, it was very brutal. Very, very brutal.
And it's like
with the slow finish, like I stabbed you a million times, but then to finish you off, it was just a super slow, ear to ear. Ugh. That's one thing I do love about Game of Thrones. Like they do not shy away from the visuals on deaths.
Especially not Arya's. Like Arya's murders are definitely becoming like the most brutal for real. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately for her, when she gets back to the House of Black and White, they wouldn't quite as the man with no name was not too thrilled about her deviating from her actual task to go murder someone else who was not on, who wasn't supposed to die. Like that wasn't the life she was supposed to take. He said that wasn't her life to take. And I'm just like, but yeah, I mean, you're the one who told her to make a fucking list. Like you're the one who gave her this list idea in the first place. So, you know the shit she'd been through. So how you gonna say that was not her life to take? Like that was her life to take, but that's just not right now. Like you had other shit she's supposed to be doing. So he punishes Arya. Arya gets punished, and by punished, he takes her sight. That's some scary shit. If the fucking no face people have the ability to just take a motherfucker's sight.
Yeah, pretty.
And I'm realizing.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like it's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
And thinking about that now, we don't really get to see the full magnitude then of the House of Black and White, because really season 6, they're out of here. Like for the most part, they're gone. So unless they pop back up and that's who Arya's running from in season 8, which I highly doubt, then once season 6 is up, that's it for the House of Black and White and them folks. So I feel like that was totally untapped power that, Arya didn't have a chance to learn. Like if she had learned life, she had become a full-fledged member and learned everything, she would have been ridiculously dangerous.
Real bad. It'd have been really, really bad. Like you said, you see how she is now. It'd have been really bad for other people. She is savage now from what she learned. So like you said, if she would have been staying there for years type shit, ooh wee.
She would have been the Night King.
Yo, for real. For real. I can't wait till they do that flashback and we see who the Night King is. Because I know they're going to give us a Hodor-ish flashback.
Yeah.
And we're going to see who it is, and it's going to be like, you motherfucker. It's going to be something to where somebody we know did something wrong.
For sure.
Something.
For sure. So, Jaime on the boat with Marcella. They have this nice moment where, he's just telling her that I just care about you and I just want you to be safe. And she was like, of course you do, because you're my dad.
I know you're my daddy.
And it was just like, oh, she's like, I've always known. She's like, I've always known that you were my dad. And I'm glad you're my dad. Which was such a great scene for Jaime, because it was like, he legitimately never got to parent any of his kids. He got to be Uncle Jaime, but he never got to really be a dad to his kids. Now
you ain't a dad no more, cuz.
And then, they share that moment and she dies. Because we realized the sand snake fucking poisoned that, what was her name? Elia Martell? Or no? Illyria Sand. Poisoned her. When she kissed her, that was poison. And it was like, damn, you was angry. At no point, you was just, it's crazy because the person who was responsible for Oberyn dying it was Oberyn. That was Oberyn's fault. He's the one who fucking chose to be, the champion. He's the one who chose to run his mouth. He could have killed the mountain. He could have been done. So it really wasn't, any of the Lannisters' faults. It was Oberyn's fault. But if you want to blame it on a Lannister, then, it was Tywin's fault that Elia and her kids got murdered by the Hound. Or by the Mountain. So it was him, Tywin, who, and Robert, who did this whole rebellion thing that resulted in them getting killed and her getting murdered and raped and shit like that. Again, that had nothing to do with Marcella. Quite frankly, it had nothing to do with Cersei.
Yeah, nothing to do with them, even a little bit.
So the fact that you took down that poor little girl is just so fucked up. If she really wanted to, I mean, obviously, it was just pretty short-sighted, because she could have just taken Marcella under her wing and turned her against the Lannisters type shit. Would have been more of a long-term game. But I guess short term thinking we just gonna kill her and let everybody be mad. But okay, so start a war. So Marcella dies. Now we're down to one of Cersei's kids left. So this prophecy has definitely, fulfilling itself. They ain't looking too good for Tommen. So Drogon flew Dany to God knows where the fuck. Like, just flew away, landed, and he's sleepy. And he's not getting the fuck up. He's like, I'm tired. I'm going to sit here and rest. I've been stabbed mad times. I just want to lay down and eat something. And clearly there was a bunch of carcasses around him, so he didn't eat. But she was trying to get the fuck out of there, and he was like, nah, I'm going to take a nap. So he takes a nap. And she stumbles off. She wanders off. Easing on down the hill. And her small council, which, this is essentially what we've seen now, is her small council is like now formed, are sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck to do in her absence, because they're like, do we go after her? Do we sit here? We can't all leave. And they tell Tyrion, no, your ass gonna stay here. Jorah and her boyfriend, her boy toy, decide to go after her. They even leave Grey Worm there because they say that Grey Worm and Tyrion need to,
rule the city.
Yeah, rule the city in Dany's absence, because, they can make that happen. And the fighters, the warriors.
People respect that.
Yeah. So the warriors are going to go after Dany. Try to figure out where the fuck she at. She stumbles down this hill and she meets a whole shit ton of Dothraki. Like, there wasn't even that many Dothraki in her Khalasar. Like, these motherfuckers just, came out of nowhere. Which, I remember them going to Vast Dothrak very briefly when she was married to Khal Drogo. I don't remember if there was this much greenery on that journey. Like, they just, I guess maybe not all of the Dothraki lived in the desert, because they seemed like they were in the desert. And now they're in, this green-ass land pretty close to Marine. Because Drogon, unless he just went mad fucking far, but still, it's pretty green. I'd like to know where he actually landed with her, because it seemed like they were pretty close to Vast Dothrak, because that's where they ended up taking Dany, in season 6. But it's just mad Dothraki out here riding around on horses. And I honestly, first time watching this, wasn't sure, was she happy to see the Dothraki? Did she think this was going to be a good thing, or was she kind of scared, not knowing and how the fuck where was Drogon? How far did she walk away from him to where he didn't hear this, he didn't get startled, he didn't fly? No. And if they seemed like they were going with the whole, he sensed she was in danger and that's why he showed up. So I guess then it would be safe to assume that she did not feel like she was in danger at this moment, or else he would have sensed that and came to her rescue again. Or unless he was just that tired, he was just like, nah, I already did this shit once, I'm good.
But, you tired.
If he had showed up, do you think the Dothraki could have took out a dragon?
No. No. Absolutely not. You see it, put like this. You see they was throwing real spears at Drogon, and Drogon was still eating people in the pits. They was throwing actual spears. The Dothraki ain't got nothing but some swords and some arrows. Man, look. One little fire breath, and it'd have been OVA. Because all of them were rolling hordes, so y'all niggas is in packs. Only split up. Yeah. So we know what time that is. That's true. That'd have been good eating for him, though. He would have definitely, gotten his fill with all them fucking horses and men. Mm-hmm. Melisandre makes it to the wall. And conveniently, so does Jon about the same time. Jon's back at the wall, and he's like, man, shit's worse than we thought it was. But, Melisandre arrives at the same time, so Sir Davos is, or actually, how long has Sir Davos been there? Mm-hmm. How long? Okay, so let's rewind this back. So Stannis sent Sir Davos away. Then that same day, are we going to assume he burnt Shireen later on that day, after Davos left, he burnt Shireen? And then the next night is when the actual fight happened. So Davos... No way. Those long-ass winter... No way. No way it happened that fast. So it's how long has Davos been there? And then, because she left at least... she left after she burnt Shireen. So, at least it had been 3 days later. Now, this is another example of... It seemed like that ride from Winterfell to the wall was mad short for these two. Granted, I guess they was just themselves on a single horseback. But when Jon and them
went to the wall from Winterfell, it made it seem like it was like a fucking journey. Or like Bran, and then when it was getting to the wall, it seemed like it's a journey, it's a trek to that bitch.
I don't trust none of them stories only because North is so humongous. So
True.
like the North is so damn big. Anytime it makes it seem like something is quick travel wise in the North,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe none of that shit. You guys are liars.
Melisandre makes it up there and tells Davos that ain't nobody make it. She don't say it, but I mean, I obviously look on her face when she asks about Shireen. It's like, she no go, buddy. But of course, she don't tell her how. So Jon trying to figure out what the fuck they gonna do now, because you know he's got the wildlings at the wall. They're safe for now, but he knows what's coming, and you know, trying to like, yeah, what the fuck? We don't know what the fuck we gonna do at this point. And while he's trying to figure all that out, and he's in his little, you know, office working, good old Ollie runs up in there and lures Jon out. You know, hey, one of the wildlings says he knows where your uncle is. And Jon's like, really? Where? Because Jon's so trusting and honorable and believing and just wants to know where, you know, his family is. And he runs the fuck out there. And we get our old Caesar moment where Jon gets stabbed.
1.5 million times.
By everybody. And by Ollie's little fucking ass.
And he's still alive. You can get stabbed 30 times and still live.
Like, just standing there watching it. Like, what the fuck? And then he falls. And he dies. Like, he's sitting and he bleeds out. He bleeds out. I remember the first time, because I watched this before I read the books. And then I was like, holy shit. So this is when I started reading the books. After watching this. Because I was like, okay, I need to know what happens. And then I get to that last book and I'm like, wait a minute, I still don't know what happens.
I still can't get over that. They really ended the damn show or ended the book.
Right there. That's
right there. And then it was just like, if I was a book reader, man. You know, like, I do, but if I've read those books, if I was a book reader to read those books and that's where it ends, it's just like, is it real? Like, for real, it really ends like, and then Jon Snow's watches ended. End of the book?
Yeah. It's more like Jon Snow lays in snow dying.
And then that's it? Just epilogue.
Yep. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
Cut scene, end scene, last page. Yeah, that's how it fucking, and it was just like, okay. And then that's when you start scrambling. When's the next season coming? When is the next fucking book coming? No book. Clearly we ain't got no book. We've got more seasons, but then it was, yeah, I remember watching that.
No book. We're going to take another extra 9 months to film season 7 or season 6. You know what I'm saying? And no book's coming. So now you got to wait.
Yes. And it was just like, wow, that just fucking happened. Like, we went through all of this for them to kill him? Like, man, I didn't know if I was going to continue. At this point, I was like, I don't know if I'm in, like, season 6 better start with some real good shit, because if by episode 1, some good shit ain't happening, I'm not watching anymore. Because at this point, I was like, I don't care. Like, I don't know if I cared enough about Dany and her dragons.
I've heard a lot of fans really kind of low-key left the show when he died. Not left, but like were really mad. Like, we need answers. And then when they brought him back, it was like, oh, phew.
Yeah, I was definitely one of those people. I was like, man, I'm not watching this shit no more. Like, 5 seasons in, I'm fucking good. Like, I'm done. What am I watching next? Was where my head was at when this happened. And then it was like waiting for news, and you got fan theories coming out, but like the fan theories were legitimately fucking theories because there was no book. So it wasn't like The Walking Dead that has years worth of comic books written before this show. It's not like years past where we're at anymore, and we have no possibilities. Like, we don't know what the fuck's going on. George Martin's like, I don't know what I want to do right now. I'm sick. Actually, at that point, he was sick. So it was like, we didn't even know if he was going to live. Like, they were talking about, like, this man could be dead at any moment type shit. And then there was, like, talks of a ghostwriter coming in and finishing the books. And it was like, do we really want that, though? Because, like, how much notes does he have? And it was a hell of a cliffhanger. That's for sure.
Oh, no, that would have been, if I would have read the books and watched the show up until that point, I would have been... Because that sounds like the worst cliffhanger of all time.
One of for sure.
No, in like any genre, I cannot remember one worse than like The Sopranos. But at least like the Sopranos like ended that shit.
Yeah,
you're mad about it, but you know nothing else is coming. Like Game of Thrones is still coming, so you just gonna leave us waiting for a year and a half for this?
Yeah.
Like,
and then
low key, The worst two cliffhangers that I would have said is probably this and probably in Infinity War.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Infinity War, not so much, because I mean, we know everybody ain't dead.
We know everybody ain't dead. But like this, they got
Yeah.
everybody in the movie still. Like everybody's still credited in the movie.
So
With like appearances. Not like credited like flashbacks. Like they are in the movie. Like if you just look at the credit, like the cast credits, every single person that's been in a Marvel movie is in that ain't like actually dead is in this movie. So like we know everybody ain't dead. Just how you gonna make everybody come back? People gonna die in the movie, but we know everybody ain't dead. They may come back to life and then die. Cool.
okay. So we're gonna get into that here in a second. But before we do, so next podcast, we're gonna do season 6, episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And 5. Why do you keep doing 4?
I
We're
thought
doing
you
half
said
seasons.
it was 10.
Half seasons. It is 10 in season 6. It's half seasons.
Okay.
We're doing 1 through 5, then we're doing 6 through 10, and then season 7 we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next one we're doing 5, 6, 7. We're probably gonna do that on like the Saturday or even Sunday of the premiere. I don't know.
Okay, you're right. So, all right. Well, 1 through 5 is season 6. Next episode of the podcast. So now, as far as
2 weeks away. We 2 weeks away, guys.
Yo, it's crazy. It is crazy.
We waited 2 years for this shit, man. It's 2 weeks away.
Man, this is
about and you know there ain't gonna be no filler episodes. Y'all ain't got time for no filler episodes. This shit gonna be 6 episodes of nonsense because you can't get at this point. You can't waste anything. There's only 6 episodes left. There's no. You need to tie up and show up storylines and close character developments and answer questions and answer questions as far as like who's alive and who's gonna do this. And you ain't got no time to waste. It's gonna be 6 filled episodes. That's why 4 of them 6 is over an hour.
And I don't even know what I want anymore. Like part of me wants to know like things are okay at the end, but it's like at the same time, it's HBO. It's definitely gonna be an open-ended ending. Like it's definitely gonna be like it's not gonna be like, okay, well, Brienne and Jaime go live happily ever after in Tarth. Like that's
again with this Brienne and Jaime.
I'm just saying, like, there's not gonna be. I don't think anything like that's gonna happen. It's not gonna be any like Jon and Dany are not gonna be happily ever after running the kingdom. Like that's not gonna happen.
At this point, I'm with you. I didn't really have an idea. I had my many theories, and now that it's coming up here, I'm just like, I don't really give a fuck no more. I just want to see what happens.
Yeah.
Just give me something. I don't care if it's good or bad. I just need something.
Yeah. I mean, semi-closure, I guess, would be because it's not going to be real closure.
It's not going to be real closure. It's not going to be real closure because HBO been talking about doing these prequels. So you got to leave it open-ended if you're going to have prequels kind of like maybe tie in after that. So
yeah, and I think what's really that's a great setup. Like, I mean, this is a legitimate setup that people are going to watch. Like, everyone's invested this much. It's gotten this much buzz. At this point, you really don't even have to advertise. It's because you've got all the free advertising in the world for this shit. It's so well written. There's so much story to pull from at this point.
You can turn around and, like you said, they wanted a Jon Snow backstory. They wanted a Dany backstory. We started Dany when she was a teenager. We don't know how it could be when she's a kid. You could do the prequel that lead up to her moment when we see her butt-ass naked about to get washed. And then you could skip all that because everybody already knows what happens and then just go to the end to where she might be ruling Westeros or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And I mean, obviously, I think as of right now, no one in this cast wants to do this. Like, everyone is like, they need time off because it's been fucking brutal.
Oh, of course.
So,
it's going to be at least 2 years before you see anything or hear anything concrete. You know what I'm saying? Not 2 years before something's finished. 2 years before they say, all right, this is what we're doing. Now we're going to get the script. We're going to write the script. So I feel like it's going to be, between 3 and 5 years before anything gets put on TV.
And I think they would start with the prequel. Like, I think we'll get the Targaryen backstory first.
100%.
So we'll get a good, 5, probably 4 or 5. No, we'll probably get another six seasons of Targaryen storyline that leads up to.
Especially because when you look at the storylines in the show, that's the most unanswered one. They keep referencing it all the time, but they never really give answers. of like why this, who that, this happened. It's like, you might give some North backstory, some King's Landing backstory, some, some Iron Island backstory, but the Targaryens is one they consistently reference and never really deep dive into like the storyline of it. So they got plenty of ranting for that.
Yep. So they could do 6 seasons of that, which really amounts to 6 seasons is really about what, like 7 years, 8 years? Because when you factor in the breaks.
I think they won't go the Game of Thrones route. I think they'll go 1 year. They won't skip years and
between. So let's just say it did so it'd be about at least 2 years before they even started on something. So like 8 years from now, we could be at the end of a season end of a Targaryen series 8 years from now. And then at that point, they could bring it back to this. And we could see the future of whatever happens next month. Like they could legitimately do that. So like they have a good fucking 20 years worth of fucking content.
And we will be here for all of that shit. I wouldn't miss a fucking episode.
Yeah, how old you gonna be 20 years from now, Mo?
I'm just saying, I'm gonna be old. I mean, I ain't gonna divulge, but I'm gonna be old and I'm gonna be right there, popcorn ready.